Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. Currently, we are in the Italian Alps. We left Scotland about 4 or 5 days ago and flew into Germany, and then drove through Germany, Austria, and into Italy, which was fun because my daughter and I have both never been to any of those countries. And so, yeah, it's just been a beautiful journey here, and just being in the mountains, and it feels today like we were just up in the clouds. So yeah, I hope you're able to kind of feel into the atmosphere of the Alps. And today I wanted to dive into the topic of being natural, and just the word natural and what that means to me, and how it has played a really significant role over the past few years of my life in returning to my roots and the essence of who I am and the way that I live my life. And so I feel the best way to kind of drop into this is to kind of drop into my childhood and what that looked like. So I grew up in Massachusetts on a little island, and it is connected to land. So it was connected to land, way back in the day, but it still feels like an island to me. It's completely surrounded by the ocean. It has marshland all around it, and I grew up with my siblings, like most people I feel like in our generation, just digging in the dirt, and we were in the mud flats digging up clams. I was crabbing, getting hermit crabs and periwinkles, and in the winter time I would be in Vermont with my dad and my siblings going skiing, and in the summer, like I said, we'd be in the river, in the marsh, and just really being outdoors and being natural. And that was just the core of the way that we were brought up. My mom played such a beautiful, significant part in my life. She still does, and in my childhood. And growing up, she has never worn makeup. Like, I've never seen my mom with makeup on. And I remember being younger and getting into high school and starting to wear makeup and just really care about my clothing and all of these different things. And my mom would always come back to being natural and just remind me, Kenna, you don't need makeup. You don't need to have social media. You don't need all of the newest things and trends. And most of the time, being that age, I would kind of roll my eyes and get annoyed and not answer her. And then as time went on, I remember I would start by myself quietly, just kind of think about what she had said, and just as I got older, just start questioning it a little bit more. And fast forward to 2020, I moved to an island in Hawaii, and it was one of the most special times of my life. And looking at it from the perspective now, I realized that that was the gateway into my returning to my natural essence, and honestly the core of the way that I live my life. And when I say natural, what I mean by that is living in a way where you are connecting to the most raw human essence of who we are on this planet. And it means living organically and naturally, and with the earth and with the seasons and with your cycle. And essentially not living in a way where you care what society says, or you have to follow mainstream and the trends. And obviously that is going to impact you, but really always coming back to that core essence. And for me, it is coming back to that word natural. Like, I literally come back to the word natural. How can I be more natural? How can I show up more natural in my life? How can I consume things that are more natural and authentic to me, and not allow mainstream media or scrolling or all of these things to dictate me and my life? Because there's a specific way that I was raised that I absolutely adore, and that's also a way that I want to parent and raise my child in this world. And so when I was living on the island in Hawaii, I started just being barefoot, and I didn't have any makeup on. I wasn't straightening my hair. I wasn't caring if I had a different outfit on every day. And all of these little things before I had moved there, I was really caring a lot more about. And so living here, it started to make me think and just be like, wow, like, this is such a beautiful way to live. But I wasn't really too focused on it. I do remember having one memory where I came outside of my house, and it was so beautiful and magical and majestic. And if you've ever been to Hawaii, you know that this land is so pure and captivating. It honestly feels like a dreamy fairy tale land, and it doesn't feel like real life to me when I'm there. And so I had taken this video of the sunset, and then a little bit later I took a selfie. And I don't know if it was that night or the next day that I went to post them on my Instagram. And I remember I was doing just my usual way that I would post, and I started putting filters on both the selfie and on the video of the earth. And all of a sudden I just started laughing, and I was like, what am I doing? Why am I trying to put a filter on this beautiful land? Why do I filter the earth? And why do I filter myself? Why do I always put the saturation up and try to make myself look tanner? Like, what is that? Like, why am I doing that? And I see everyone kind of doing that on my feed. Not saying that everybody like uses the filters or uses the saturation, but I do see a majority of people doing that. And why is that? What are we trying to gain? Why is it making me feel better when this earth is so beautiful to live on? It doesn't need a filter, and neither do I. And so from that moment, I actually posted the video and the photo onto my Instagram with this pretty much exact caption explaining, I used to like saturate my photos and make myself look tanner, and I would filter the earth, but I'm not doing that anymore. And from that day forward, I never did filter or change the photos. I kept them natural in the way that they were meant to be, and the way they're meant to be perceived by the world. And fast forward to 2 years later, after living in Hawaii, I moved to France. And this was also definitely a threshold into just moving into this way of living naturally with the earth. I began to just deepen my connection with the earth like I had been. I was swimming naked in rivers, and I started a 3-month feminine embodiment course with a coach who I had met in Hawaii. And in this course, I had really grown up a lot more in my masculine. I didn't really know how to tap deep into my feminine. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know how to align with my cycle and how to connect with my womb space and how to do somatic movement and all of these different modalities that I was able to learn in this 3-month container of feminine embodiment. And I loved this so much that I actually ended up getting certified by my coach and doing a 1-year certification with her. So if this is something that resonates with you or you find interesting or anything in my videos, please message me. I would love to do an absolutely free consultation, just have a conversation, and just connect and see if that's something that you're interested in. If not, you could always join my Telegram community, because that's also a place that we can connect and you can learn more about this way of living. And so the container was really beautiful. Like I said, I was just stepping more into this natural way. And one day I was doing a meditation, and that is when the word natural came to me. And I just remember smiling and just sitting with the earth and just realizing this is the core essence of who I am. This is the way that I was raised. And this is kind of exactly what my mom was always trying to tell me, that I don't need to listen to mainstream media. I don't need to shift and change and morph my own body, my own human form for the pleasure of other human beings. I want them to accept them for my essence, for who I am. And beyond my physical, I want them to accept me for my mind, for the way I speak, for the way that I share, and for everything else. And so I ended up calling my mom and telling her, I had this huge piece of paper and I just wrote everywhere, like being natural and this and that. And also while I was in France, I had deleted my social media. I deleted my Instagram, and I thought I was only going to do this for a week. In 1 week turned to 2 weeks, turned to 3 weeks. My partner Daniel also deleted it with me, and we have never downloaded it since. And that is since 2022. And I was like a big Instagram girl, so I'll totally drop into that in another video at another time. But yeah, in this moment in France, like I didn't have social media. I had learned so much about myself in Hawaii, and now in France, and being in my feminine side, I was like, this is like the core of the way that I want to live my life. How can I be more natural? And so I wrote that on the piece of paper, and I realized it's in anything in life. It's not just in the way that I'm presenting myself, but it's, what am I eating? How can I be more natural? How can I be more natural in what I'm consuming on TV, movies, videos on YouTube, on Instagram, if I had it? Like, what am I consuming? What magazines, if I'm reading magazines, what books am I consuming? Who am I talking to? And how am I talking to them? Is there a way that I can be more natural? Is there a way I can be more authentic and show up deeper in the way that I want to be perceived in the world as my own individual and not following that mainstream, trendy kind of world? How can I wear more natural clothing, organic clothing that's straight from the earth? How can I speak to the earth more and be with her and connect to my natural human essence? And so, yeah, it's been such a beautiful journey for me to always come back to that and to hope to inspire other people around me to also do the same. And yeah, when I just a few weeks ago was in Scotland, I was with my daughter and she was naked and in the garden with all of the flowers, and I was sitting next to her just smiling and just watching her interacting. She was picking up snails, she was holding the flower petals and just having so much fun. She had no idea, she was no awareness that if other people were around or if she was older, it would be weird to be naked. And I just found it so beautiful to just see her and just see the dopamine rising out of her and the smiles. And the next morning I went for a run, and then I found myself laying naked by myself in the flowers. And it was the purest, most beautiful, happiest experience that I got to have to myself. And we were in a cottage and there was nobody around, because obviously I know that this is something that you can't just go do in the city or just do out in public somewhere, but I had a safe space to be able to just be with myself and with the earth and be in my beautiful core human form. And it felt exactly where I was meant to be. It just felt human. Like, the best way that I can describe it is it felt human. And I realized that we need so much more of that in the world. We need to be able to connect to ourselves in our raw, natural, naked essence and not feel uncomfortable and timid and just like, ooh, because that it does make you feel uncomfortable. There's a threshold that you can break through, that you need to kind of break through. And so yeah, I loved it. I even told Daniel later, I told him, I was like, that experience was so sacred. I felt the dopamine pouring out of me. I felt so connected to the earth. It truly felt orgasmic. I don't use that word often, but it really, truly did. And yeah, I would really suggest taking the time to go out into nature and to find a safe place and to get naked and to get into your raw form and just connect with the earth. So yeah, go lay naked in the flowers. But yeah, I'm just so grateful for the way that my mom and my family raised me. And I love that this is something that I challenge myself to raise my daughter in that way and to really just connect to the core, natural, ancestral, intuitive way to bring children up in the world and to allow them to dig in the dirt and to get dirty and to not always have screens. I know screens are such a big part of our world, and it's so important for us to teach them about it. And I'm a supporter of having my daughter, when she's age appropriate, to be able to get screen time and to understand it. But it's definitely a new way of living and learning how to live with technology, but also how to get our kids out there and into the world and digging in the dirt and not forget that core essence, that human form. And so that's just something that I want to just challenge and bring up to start thinking about what you're eating, what you're consuming, what you're watching on TV, what movies, what podcasts you're listening to. Just the way you're speaking, the way you're raising your babies, the way that the friends that you have. Are you being honored? Are you, just taking care of yourself? And also just, rather, for me personally in my life, I choose organic products. And then also when it comes to, if I'm not feeling good, I turn to tinctures, into herbs, and to homeopathics before I turn to synthetics. And I will have different medicine if it's needed, but can these natural remedies cure me before I need to turn to these ones? It's these little shifts in life that I think are so beautiful and important to just kind of start integrating. And it doesn't have to be all at once, but yeah, it's just something that I found to be really beautiful for me. just gonna take a breath because I feel like I just had so much to say at once, and I feel like there's more that wants to come through. I feel like when I take these videos, I just do it in one take and I feel I need to get it all out really fast. And then after I wonder, like, did I do that too fast? Does it make sense? Does it not make sense? Should I even post this? And yeah, a lot of times I realize like I just need to slow down and breathe, and the people that are meant to be here and to get these messages and to, that resonate with them, they'll be here. And so I'm just going to take a few deep breaths if you want to join me and see if anything else comes through for us to connect on. When I ask myself, what does being natural mean to me? It means being in harmony with my body, with the earth, and with my intuition, and not being dictated by any external systems or society or other people's opinions. And so I just hope that this is able to inspire you in some way. And I challenge you to ask yourself, how can I be more natural? But I also challenge you to take some time to reflect on your childhood and your upbringing and the things that you love to do, and see maybe there's a word or there's a way of living that comes up for you that really resonates that you forgot about. And there's a way that you can weave that into your story, into your life today. And that can be your natural. Or maybe natural is your word too. Maybe that's the way that you were raised and that you grew up, and you want to connect more to that. And so, I hope that you are able to take something from this video and lay naked with the flowers. No, but also just connecting to your mind, to your body, to your soul, and the rhythm of your cycle, and just being slow and living with the seasons. It's spring now and coming into summer, and I feel a lot of times in the spring there's this like beautiful blooming energy and excitement because you're coming into the summer months. But also I'm just gonna remind you to also be slow and to take your time and to witness the blooming if that's happening for you, and if it's not, to not be sad about it, but to move through it and to do your modalities and to show up and to be consistent. And just know that you're doing the best that you can, and you're doing a beautiful job, and always remembering how special you are and how loved you are. I know that this world can just feel so heavy at times, or you can go through emotions or blockages, and it can feel like you're kind of swimming upstream or you're stuck in mud. But just know that all of those moments you will persevere and you will get through. And connect with the earth and connect with your angels if you need to, and ask them for guidance and for support. Just recently, even myself, like I have been going through it this past cycle and have just felt so on edge, and I'm traveling in all of these beautiful places, but I just felt so off and short-tempered, and I really had to reconnect with myself and talk to my partner and talk to the land and just honestly give myself time. It was just, I just needed time, and I just got my moon. And it actually came early in my postpartum. I've had really long cycles, and this cycle actually shortened. And so I wasn't expecting it. And just a few weeks ago, when I was going through all of my emotions and just feeling short-tempered, like I just mentioned, I was on a run in Scotland, and I held my womb space. And I just told her, I said, whatever you need for me to get through this, these emotions are so difficult for me. Like, please help me. I told her, I said, if you need to give me really bad period cramps, that's okay, but just help me move through just all of this. And she came early, like I said, and she came on the full moon. And I just feel like that connection with our womb and that intuitive side, and just knowing that for me, like that is the woman's brain, and she is listening. So it's just so powerful having that connection. And like I had learned in my feminine embodiment course, and that is one of the roots of me being natural. I also just like another side story that just came through is my pregnancy and my birth journey. I actually told my womb space and my baby that I didn't want to have my baby until May 1st onward, and my due date was May 4th, and it was my first baby. And usually they say with your first baby you can be up to 42 weeks, and I was actually early, and I went into labor on May 1st, literally the day that I told my womb space that. And also I had been at the river on, I think it was April 30th, and I was praying to the water and speaking to the river, and the river told me the day my baby was going to be born. And I just turned to Daniel and said, I think our baby is going to be born on May 2nd. And then we looked at the calendar and we were like, that's in 2 days, or that's tomorrow. And I was like, there's no way that that's going to happen. And then lo and behold, that is literally what happened. And my pregnancy journey and my birth journey, and now my postpartum journey, I'm still in my postpartum journey, has fully been living in reflection and as a mirror with the earth, and just like fully connecting with the earth in my womb space. And so that in essence also is going back to my natural self, into my core. And so these are all just side stories that, to be honest, I didn't know I was going to speak of today. But when I just took some deep breaths, like that is what came through. And these are all of the kinds of things that I want to keep sharing on this channel, because they're so important to me. And I just hope that even if it's just one person can watch this and resonate with it and allow it to help them, is like honestly my goal. And I would really truly love to connect with you. So please send me a message, join the Telegram chat, and I'm always happy to jump on a call if there's anything in here that resonates with you. So let's just have a nice, slow, gentle closing, and maybe take some breaths together. Get into a comfortable position. And closing down our eyes. And just coming back to our breaths. And breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Maybe taking some slow movements in your body. Stretching your hands to the sky and down. And just allowing everything that we talked about today to integrate into your body and into your being. Not putting too much pressure on it. Not forcing it. But just allowing it to resonate. Maybe your journal entry for tomorrow will be about reflecting on your childhood, about reflecting on how you can show up and be more in your human, natural form. Just take 2 more deep breaths together. Biggest breaths of the day, in through your nose, out through your mouth. 1 more breath, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And blinking your eyes open. Thank you so much for being here on this journey. I hope these videos are getting 1% better every single time. And we will see you in the next video. And don't forget to go lay naked in the flowers.